Hey, this is Scott from the TrepTECH Podcast. If you're interested in learning more about emails or seeing how a functional email list works, then you can head on over to Podcast Bay Productions email list. We email Monday to Friday, and every day has a different theme, from stats breakdowns to tips on how to podcast better, journals about the business, SEO stuff, and sales messages and things like that. So if you want to see how it's done, you can definitely go over there. If you're interested in podcasting in general, that should be a place you are anyway. And you can kind of see just what's working, what's not, how it's going from a list that's actually functioning. It's growing, it's engaging, people want emails every single day, and it's converting. People are buying from these emails. They enjoy them enough that they're actually putting their money where their mouth is. So if you want to see a living, breathing, amazing email list in action, definitely go to podcastbay.net and click the option, I already have a podcast, and you'll be added to the list. Now on to the episode.
Airial, if I could marry her brain, it would be amazing.
If you need anything technical.
She is down to earth. She's fun. She's very easy to network with.
Anything systems oriented.
Just anything web dev techie that I don't understand, Airial has swooped in and fixed. And she's my accountability bulldog.
She is a queen.
Anything infrastructure related.
She is helpful, and she helps guide and answer all your questions that you have about growing your business and networking and getting started.
She gives me life. She just gives me life.
Airial Re'nal is your girl. Welcome to the TrepTECH Podcast with your host, Airial Re'nal.
I just want to marry her brain. She's a genius.
Welcome to the TrepTECH Podcast. I am the humble sidekick, Scott Doucet, to the incredible superwoman, Airial Re'nal. How you doing, Airial?
I'm good. We're going to have to work on that intro thing to make it sound more authentic.
Authentic.
It's like you're just like, yeah, I'm the servant, and here's the wonderful girl. All right, let's go.
Well, hey, in the beginning, that's how you said it was. I push the buttons and introduce you, and you bring up all the wonderful things that you do. So I see the balance is starting to shift now. I'm starting to earn my place in here. I'm starting to earn my keep.
Wait a minute, I didn't say all of that.
How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks, Scott. So the other day we were talking about headlines, and we're getting into email marketing. We're creating your email marketing funnel, process, automation system, whatever.
That mess that it is.
Yeah. So we're creating that. We've been talking about headlines. So let's talk about funniest headlines, the raunchiest headlines, and just, how to get people to actually open and read that email or that post or watch that video.
Awesome.
It even goes with podcasting too, because you have titles for episodes.
That's true. I get so excited for email headlines, both because I'm subscribed to really good email marketers and really bad ones at the same time. And I can take two approaches from this. One is someone who sends emails, and then two is someone who receives them. And I can say that I've definitely got favorites, and I've definitely got some that outperformed others. So
Mm-hmm. Do you know some of your favorites off the top of your head and why they attracted you?
Okay, so I like humor. I love humor in my inbox. If someone can make me laugh in my inbox, I'm almost a guaranteed sell. I love it when people can make me laugh. I also love lists, especially if they're helpful, like resource lists or something. Sometimes I just like a story. Someone will tell me what I learned from such and such a movie, and I'll be like, what would you learn from that movie? That movie was senseless. What could you have possibly gotten out of that movie? And then I'll get to the end and be like, huh, so you did. I didn't even know that was in that movie, but now I've learned something, So I have a lot of really fun emails that I get, and the ones that I really put me over the top, the headline is engaging. So the minute I read the headline, it's short, it's snappy, and it made me laugh. And then the content backs it up, really backs it up and gets to the point of the headline quickly. That's the key for me. If I'm 3/4 of the way through your email and I still don't know how it tied into the headline, you did a bad job.
I've read emails that really didn't tie into the headline,
I don't know. Like to me,
but they're still good in content.
the headline has to be relevant, in my opinion. Like it can't just be something that got my attention and then I click it and I'm reading something else. Like it has to be relevant to me. And so for me, like I have read things like, I'm just trying to think, like some of the things I've gotten from Dan Meredith's email list have been just, I'm not even going to say the subject lines here because they have just been so vulgar and unique and wonderful. But he's a British guy. He swears a lot. He says a lot of really weird insults, but he's very business oriented. So he'll tie in a lot of genitalia based subject lines and they're hilarious. I know one gentleman, his name is Ben Settle. He's a top email marketer. And he said, why be a hero when you can be a villain?
Mm.
And if I was like, okay, that's kind of provocative. Everyone wants to be the hero. What's up? So I clicked into it and he gave me a list of why villains are actually better than heroes, because heroes are reactive, but villains are the ones with the plan, the goals, the execution, the money to back it, typically, the investors or what have you. Like villains are the ones that just think it out. And then the hero comes in and goes, no, you can't do that. So he said,
Right.
as a business person, you almost have to put on the villain's approach to planning. And that subject line really blew me out of the water. And once I read the content, it backed it up, So for me, like that's kind of important, is it's got to be an enticing headline and the content has to back it up for me.
And then as a note, sell something.
Yes, always, please, always do. Or at least send me somewhere. Because if you just made me laugh my ass off, if literally I just had the greatest time reading your email and I don't have a way to go find more of you, I'm actually going to forget it. And I don't want to. Maybe I want to subscribe to your YouTube channel because you're that funny, or maybe I want you in my social media, or maybe I want, maybe you're teaching me how to write hilarious writing and I need that in my life and I'm going to buy that course. Like you don't know who's reading and what they need, right? So you definitely want to be steering traffic always. That's a good point.
You know who we need to have as a guest? Mark Mawhinney, because he has this whole thing about emailing every day.
Oh yeah, I'm subscribed to his list. I get his emails every day.
And it's just, I'm like, how do you come up with that much content? Because we're talking about headlines and content and selling every day. How do you do it? Because it's scary. It sounds so scary.
Well, Mark is actually the one who taught me how to email. And I don't email every day. I don't want to email every day, but I want to email a couple of times a week. The reason why Mark emails every day is because every time he sends an email, he has a chance to, 1, connect with people, but 2, sell something. So,
and they're not always long emails. Sometimes it's just a thought and it's like, boom.
Now, this is how good at email Mark is, okay? I'm not a coach. I don't run a coaching business. I don't want to be a coach. He coaches how to be better coaches and get more clients. His business is pretty much irrelevant to me. And I still am subscribed and happily open every single email.
Yeah. And something, so talking about headlines, like what to get you to click, whatever's going on in the news. So take a spin off of that. Like, Are you building a wall? Are you helping build a wall? And it could be talking about the wall around your heart and, blocks and stuff that you created, mindset stuff. What else do we have going on? Just like, song words or lyrics. Like mine is Cardi B is my thing. So are you ready to make money moves? That kind of thing. And but you got to know your audience. Yeah. You got to know your audience and what you're trying to portray and the reason behind it. And there are some exact things to consider when you're creating your headlines. And actually, I think I'm going to add where people can download like a checklist or some more information on how to craft headlines. What do you think?
Yeah. Give me the link and I'll drop it in the show notes for people. And they can go check out some of the ones that, have tested well. The big thing about templates, though, is it's not about following a template just because it's worked for other people. It's about adapting it to make it work for you. And I think that's really important.
Yes, that's huge.
If you run out and grab a template and use it, it might be written in a language that your audience doesn't speak. And just some food for thought on language. The most opened headline I've ever used, and I got this trick from Dan, actually, the aforementioned Meredith. And I read it in an email that he said it was his most opened headline. So for fun, I was like, okay, let's see if that's a universal experience or if I'm going to, underperform. So I grabbed it and it's literally just a colon and a bracket, a smiley face. That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
Those have gotten me too. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, what the hell?
I sent that out, and in the body of the email, I wrote, the first line I wrote, I'm happy. So that ties in my headline. He's smiling because he's happy. Done. In one line, right? 2 words, I'm happy. Exclamation point. And then beyond that, I went on to talk about some of my client successes, and then I linked to a discovery call at the bottom. If you want to experience success with your podcast like this, please reach out. It could be possible for you. Let's talk, and I didn't make any promises that it would work for them because, not everyone is ready to monetize their show yet or is ready for the big audiences yet. That takes time, it takes building, it takes refinement. But, some people were, and they jumped on the call. And so it worked. And literally it was my most opened email to date. And it was just a colon and a bracket. You'd be amazed how simple it is to pique someone's curiosity. And we overthink it a lot.
We do.
You could literally write banana hammock in the subject line. And that is going to make someone click it out of sheer curiosity, as long as you could tie it into your content. So I was online shopping for banana hammocks yesterday.
Yes. And this thought came to mind.
Right? It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to pique my curiosity or entice me to click. Top 5 things that are going to make your podcast sound like gold. That interests me.
List with numbers. So that's like that hard technical strategy, listing something, putting numbers in there, how to do something quickly, like how to launch your podcast in 15 minutes. I mean, that kind of thing.
Now, a lot of this ties into understanding whether or not you have like a fear of missing out audience, or if people in your audience are aspirational and they want to get to know you before they buy from you, or are they goal oriented? And so they know that if you can help them achieve their goals, then they're going to buy from you. Like, knowing a lot about your audience is good. So like the things that turn me off about emails might not turn your audience off, right? But some of the things that turn me off is limited time, click now.
Yes.
Like if it's
me off too.
New price, limited time pricing, act quick, closing soon. Oops, I made a mistake in my last email, so I'm sending you another one today.
That's gotten me before.
Like, you need to understand, like, I'm a savvy fucking marketer. So if you're going to send me stuff, it can't be sleazy, cheesy, or cheap. It's got to connect with me on a personal level. It can't just be, whoopsie, forgot, here's a link twice to the same thing. No. If that link isn't different, I'm going to email you back.
I mean, stirring up drama is another one too. And I kind of alluded to that when I said, rip something from the headlines and use that. So like saying confessions of or today I wanted to give up, or why am I naked? I've seen that. Just like crazy stuff. So you're like, oh, I want to be nosy.
Oh, for me, like if my headline was the worst podcast I've ever heard, people are going to click that because people in my audience like podcasting. They like my opinion. They're going to want to know, who is it? Who has the worst podcast ever? Why doesn't Scott like them? Is this going to be dirt? Is he spilling tea? No. I'm going to make a blanket statement about every podcast that has horrible audio quality and crap content. I'm not necessarily going to point the fingers and name a name, but that will have my audience self-identify and go, oh my God, do I fall into this category? Like, do I? But just having the worst podcast I've ever heard as the tagline, people who are drama oriented are going to click that thing.
And a secret, everybody's drama oriented. Even if it's hidden.
That's true.
That's going to make somebody mad that I said that. But we know we love a scandal and something saucy and stuff.
Look, drama stresses me out to no end, but there are times when I'm just bored and I need some, so I go looking. Usually it's on TV or in a video game, but, we all kind of crave that energy at some point or another. So I kind of agree with you there, even though I don't actively go looking for it very often because I don't like it. It's definitely something where if I see drama in a headline, there's a very good chance I'm going to be like, what? Perfect example. I got a message emailed to me saying that New York passed a law where you could abort babies at term.
Ooh.
Okay? Listen, you want to talk controversy, you want to talk feelings, emotional response, you want to talk, like, I read that email and I felt some kind of way immediately, Ariel. And until I went in and actually looked at the details of the article, it switched the way I felt. Okay, completely changed the way I felt because the details had content that further clarified the headline. The headline was literally just there to piss me off to no end, and it did. And then click read. And when I read things through, I was like, oh, okay, actually, this isn't at all what they said it was in the headline. But now I understand the issue, and I wouldn't have even known this was going on if I didn't click. Yeah. So like a lot of the times, like that drama, like that was drama I wanted to get into. I read it right there, and I had the choice to go, no, I don't want to read that. I clicked anyway. You know, so I made that decision in that moment that I want to know what's going on here. I want to read this. And that's because a dramatic headline was thrown at my face.
And I had a coach that I look up to email her list the other day. And the headline was, and it wasn't like sentence case, capitalized with a period, all that stuff. Matter of fact, it was all lowercase. It said, what leader called to cuss me out a few weeks ago? So it was like, ooh. Who cussed you out? I'm mad because they cussed you out, but why they cuss you out?
What'd they say? What did you do wrong? You know, what didn't you deliver on? Or were they just crazy? Now I want to know, can I avoid this in the future? Like all that stuff goes through your head. That's why it's really important to look at headlines. It's like, what's going to impact my audience in a way that makes them click or makes them want to click, you know? And it could be, you just need to portray the information in a truthful way. Don't be all clickbaity. Clickbaity stuff is getting frowned upon. It makes you look like a bad marketer. Okay. And that's what I mean with that limited time crap. Stop. It makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. Engage with my mind. Make me want to click.
I think, you know, putting scarcity in there and urgency is important, but find a way that feels right for you to put it in there that matches your brand voice.
Well, yeah, this is how I do it. Like when I do a webinar, I'm not going to write limited seats. It's a digital conference room. You can have as many people as you want in there. Shut up. You're lying. You're lying to me. You know, like stop doing that. That's not scarcity. That's false scarcity. And I get it. But my team is taxed to the nines right now, right? We've launched, I don't know how many podcasts in a short period of time. We're all stressed. I think Jesse's getting gray hair. Like, I'm pretty sure that kid is older than me now. And when we come up and we talk about scarcity, we go, we've got room to launch one podcast in February. You in or not?
And that's real.
And that is real. Like, that is no joke. We have no more room. Like, this ain't no limited seats thing because we have 65 available seats in a conference room or unlimited seats online. We got one person, and if you want us, you get us. If you don't, you pass us up, and we are cool with it. We don't care. You know, we're willing to negotiate with you and figure out what your content is because we are fussy now. You know, we want someone who's going to really jive with us and things like that. So not only are we setting up scarcity, but we're also setting up barriers. You might not be the right person for us. Some people will actually say, like, don't do that. You're going to turn people off. But that's the goal now for us. Like, we do want to turn some people off of working with us because we want people who can afford our rates. We want people who have a certain kind of content. We want people who are serious about their sound quality. So if they're just going to throw a mic up in a room and not pay attention to recording etiquette, we don't want them, you know? So like, we're at a point now where we get to say, like, these are the type of person we are looking for. And they will self-identify. I'm that. Exactly. I'm that. I'm going to call. Versus me going, limited seats left. We've only got so much. I don't need to say that.
How do you have this is bugging me. How do you have limited seats? And then you're like, oh, back in the day, it's like, okay, I got to get in here. And then it's, like you said, an online webinar, and it's not even live.
Yeah, like that's, to me, that's just, it falls into the realm of over-taught bad marketing. And there's a lot of it out there and you got to sift through it. Like for me, if I were to do a webinar, I would be like, okay, guys, I'm doing a webinar. The scarcity is that I'm only doing this once. That's it. And if you
truly only do it once.
Yeah, I'm only doing this webinar once. That's it. If you want on it, you're good. Whether or not you show the replay or not is up to you. Typically, I would say no.
No.
You know, but like, I'm going to do this webinar once. It's unlimited seating. If you want in, you're getting in. If there's 20 of you, if there's 200 of you, if there's 2,000 of you, if there's 20,000 of you, I don't care. You're all getting in, but you're only going to see this once. So take notes.
And there will not be a replay.
And how would I work that into a headline? The only webinar I'm doing this year.
Boom. And it's true.
Done. And it's true. Because I could do a webinar with one of my team about something else. But if this is the only webinar that I am doing on this topic this year, that headline is relevant. Mm-hmm. And I'm not lying.
You can use some of the psychology behind marketing but do it where it doesn't feel sleazy, where it isn't sleazy, and where it's authentic and it's real with how you are.
Yeah, you have to adapt it to work for you.
Right. Because I know people think of sales and salespeople in a negative tone, but we're always selling. Everybody is always selling something. Even if you're not, quote unquote, in business, you're always selling. You're selling yourself as far as you want people to like you, or you're trying to get into a relationship, blah, blah, blah. But it's just how you do it.
Well, that's just it. It comes down to being authentic, which we talked about in the identity episode, being yourself. It comes down to speaking the way you speak. If you use gonna, coulda, shoulda in speech, use it in your headlines, use it in your emails.
Oh, yes, that's something else. Speak right in a conversational way. So that whole writing in a certain way, like we're taught in school, no, write like you're having a conversation with a person. And because that gets them all into the moment, and it sounds like you're talking directly to them because you are, and they hear your brand voice. So like you said, put gonna, put shoulda, and I mean, spell it like that, not going to and blah, blah, blah. And it's that conversation that you're having with that person. And like, they're self-identifying, like you said earlier.
I mean, a subject line that literally worked on me was, you don't know what you don't know, you know?
I love it. I love the on the back of it.
Without that at the end, I wouldn't have clicked it. But when that person said, you don't know what you don't know, I went, I do know. And I clicked it. I already knew what the content was going to be before I clicked it, but I still clicked it and I still read it because they asked me if I knew, when I did. I related right there and then. I was like, yes, this person gets me, right? So that's the point. It's like that, was a conversational piece. It was just something that made him feel like he was asking me a question. And for that moment, it did its job. The headline's job is just to get you to click open, then the content's job takes over, right? So it's just look at your content. Like Airial said, pull things out of the news, pull things out of movies and lessons, make lists, add numbers, ask questions, enticing questions, say funny things, say funny things.
Write about the random thoughts that you have.
Yeah. Like if you have a weird dream, make the dream, if thoughts were lily pads. Because one time I had a dream where I was a frog floating down a river, and every single lily pad I came up to was a thought bubble. And when I jumped on that lily pad, I would have a different thought. And if I were email marketing at that time, I would have woken up and I would have if thoughts were lily pads, and I would have gone straight in and been like, I would have jumped on these lily pads. And I would have crafted that whole thing into a story just out of a dream I had. And that if thoughts were lily pads would definitely be a subject line people would click.
I probably wouldn't, but
they'd be like, what is that stoner kid talking about? Like, was he high? But that's my point, is just
knowing you. If you sent that out like anytime soon, I'd be like, what the hell is Scott talking about?
Yeah, like why?
Lily pads, really, Scott?
This is not something Scott says. What's going on with this? And then you'd be introduced to the fact that it was a dream, and that, because I'm very analytical. If thoughts were lily pads would not be a subject line of mine. So if it were, it would entice people. They'd be like, whoa, this is out of character. What's up? And they'd go read it. And then they'd be like, no, it's not. It's just him being him.
So this is so much because it gets into copywriting, the psychology of marketing and selling. That's stuff that I absolutely love. But I know we can't talk about it too long.
Yeah.
So make sure to check out the content upgrades that are available. I'll have something about how to craft headlines. And I may even throw in some free email templates, because I do have a shit ton of content templates, sales templates, and email templates to share. But like Scott said, make sure it matches your voice. But I always like to go off of a template to make sure to hit the psychological points.
Yeah,
and then craft it where it sounds like it's a conversation and I'm talking to that one person, my soulmate client.
I love that. And I think I want to do something fun to close this one out, Airial. I think that I want you to encourage you to connect with us on social media using the links below and let us know what your best email headline is, or write us a bunch. Just write us some email headlines that you think would be good. And we'll read through them and let you know if they would work or not on us.
Yes, I love that. Or if you haven't written any emails, but you're signed up for someone's list and you saw a headline, and I keep swipe files too. That's what I do. If whoever list I'm on, if they have a catchy headline, I'll keep a file where I just copy and paste the headline. And, I just have that file like, ooh, I like this. This intrigued me. Why? So if you're on someone's list and you saw a headline that was really catchy, share that with us.
Yeah. Because I want
headlines.
I want to see if they'd work on us. I want to see if some of our audience are savvy enough to let us fall for some email marketing headlines. I'd be game for that. And I'll be open and honest. Like, I fall for quite a few. All right. So with that, get us your email headlines. This has been another amazing episode of the TrepTECH Podcast. This has been a fun one. I've enjoyed this. And we will catch you next week for another one. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Ciao.
Thank you for tuning in to the TrepTECH Podcast. But if you like what you heard, go on to Apple Podcast and bring her a 5-star review. And also, if you want to check out her service while she transforms mindsets, navigating entrepreneurship, leveraging technology, building relationships while bridging the gap in your business, check out TrepTECHacademy.com. That's TrepTECHacademy.com.